can all join the palms and repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
Keeping the palms joined. Put the palms down. All right, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. Thank you for showing up. Anyone here for the first time? First time, what brings you here?
Family. My
Do-
friend Carla or my family.
Aw.
My sister. Carla's my cousin.
I know them. They're pretty good people. You don't want to sit anywhere near them today, though, clearly. I meant to message you. I'm sorry. How you feeling?
Much
Better.
better.
Good. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah. What else? First time? New experience. And yet in the front row, that's pretty brave. Usually first time people are all the way in the back by the corner, so if they don't like it, they can just sneak out. Nobody knows. You know? Well, glad you're here. No chance. Well, you still can, you know. Just wait till we start meditation. Everyone's eyes will be closed. You'll be gone. Nobody will even know. Yeah. What else? First time? Anybody? Yeah. Curiosity of?
So I think mindfulness, but I want to learn more.
When you say doing mindfulness, what does that mean?
Like guided meditation.
Yeah. How's it helping you?
It's really good. It has built awareness.
That's good. Yeah. MBSR type stuff or?
Sorry.
And mindfulness, where are you learning from?
Oh, from the Headspace app.
Nice. Where would we be without the Airspace app, you know? Is it a good one? I've actually never.
That's only I've used, so I don't know.
Yeah.
How it is comparatively, but,
Nice.
it's pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, it's so many tools to learn from now, you know? There really are. I find the most difficult and also beneficial tool to learn from is people. It's really hard dealing with people, right? Or am I the only one who just wanted to make sure you're all the right place? That's all. Maybe you all have figured out how to deal with people, and I was just missing something, you know. It's funny when I look at Buddhist teachings. You know, very often, I think in life we have difficulty, we have challenges, we have problems, we have whatever we want to label them as, right? Buddha called this dukkha, first noble truth, discomfort, dissatisfaction, angst, things just not being right for us. And we experience this every single day. And so very often in life, we experience this dukkha, and then we're looking for the thing that's going to fix it, that's going to change it, that's going to heal it, that's going to correct it. And what I learned for me very early on in Buddhist practice was this kind of teaching around how to study and how to practice Buddhism. And what I learned very early on was that not to use Buddhism as this thing that was going to like fix the problem I had, right? One example I always give is if you have a headache, you take 2 Advil or whatever, and you hope the headache goes away. Well, next day, headache comes back, you take 2 more Advil. So for many people, metaphorically speaking, we spend our entire lives just popping Advil to get rid of the headache, instead of looking at why are we actually getting the headache. And for me, Buddhist teachings is very much that. It is the mirror. It is the reflection. back on us. Very often, that's why I say people, triggered by people, because people are just doing their thing. If we didn't have some like measure of way that we think, any of you think you know how the world should be and how people should behave? Just want to make sure again, right? So we operate all day long from that view that we think this is how everybody should be. And when we encounter people that aren't how we think they should be, it triggers us. It sets something off. We don't even know it. This is happening all day long, every single day, every moment. From every food you eat, to every shirt you wear, to every person you encounter, every single moment, and this is called duality in Buddhist teachings, we are comparing something to a view we have. It's just what happens every single moment of our existence. It's happening right now. Do you like what I say? Do you not like what I say? Do you agree with what I say? Do you disagree with what I say? How does that impact you? How does it not impact you? So there's all these thoughts that are going on every single moment of our lives. And what we often do, I think, with many things is we, as I was speaking to at the beginning, is we see difficulty in our life and we think, okay, Buddhist practice is going to fix it. And so we're taking Buddhist practice and we're using it as the Advil to get rid of the headache, as opposed to using the teachings as the means to stop the headache from occurring. Now, this takes time, right? This isn't like 6 weeks and then you got it. It's not a 6-month certificate course, and then you've mastered it and all of a sudden you're good to go. It really is a daily, lifelong practice. That's it. You just have to do this practice every day for the rest of your life. That's all. Not that difficult, is it? Right? So we begin to change the way we're utilizing Buddhist teachings. And as long as we're utilizing it to fix the headache, we're going to keep getting headaches our entire life. So my suggestion is to continue to, if you're brand new, then, welcome brand new day one. If you've been at this for 20 years, then welcome brand new day one, right? But my suggestion always is to take these teachings and figure out what is causing my headache. And ultimately in Buddhist teachings, it's going to come back to our attachments to views, our attachments to the idea that we think we know how everything and everyone should be. And then when that expectation is not met, and people don't do and act and behave and respond in every way we think they should all the time, then that causes the headache. But if we set down our attachment to our views on how people are and just embrace how they are, I'm not saying like it, I'm not saying agree with it, I'm not saying do it, I'm not saying support it, but we embrace the idea that people are how they are. Headache goes away. And then you can actually interact with what the trigger was to begin with, as opposed to just creating this wall that says, I'm right, you're wrong. So just something to sit with as we go into meditation practice. To those who are joining virtually, welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you for showing up. Feel free as you are to say hello. So chat box somewhere on your screen there. A couple things I'll tell you before we begin, especially for those who might be sitting for the first time. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to float away. You're not going to have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice. Meaning, don't ask yourself, is this working or not working? Are you doing it right or wrong? We're just going to sit and breathe. You're not going to shut the mind off. The mind will not stop racing. You will not think nothing. Often people come into this thinking that they're supposed to get into this like blank state. It's never going to happen. Your mind is going to race your entire life. So this practice is to watch the racing mind and training ourselves to come back to sensation of breath, right? Posture, you want to be comfortable if you're on a cushion. Often it helps slide into the front third, pushing the stomach forward, allows the back to straighten, shoulders are relaxed, hands can be on the knees or lap. If you're on a bench or chair, however you're seated, same thing. Just finding a position that's comfortable, relaxing the shoulders. If you need to move, simply move. If you need to cough, for the love of God, please cover your mouth and just cough. Don't hold it in for 45 seconds, choking yourself. Get up, walk outside, go across the street, go in the bathroom and cough and come back here, because we hear all of that anyways. So it's a lot easier. Just sit there, cough, and be done with it, right? If you're sick, you can come back tomorrow. I'll guide us as we begin. We'll settle into a little bit of silence. Thank you so much. See how nice that was? I'm so serious. It's this thing that everybody's like, oh no, I'm going to cough and ruin someone's meditation. You're not ruining anyone's meditation. If anything, you just woke them up. If your coughing ruins their meditation, that's their fault, not yours. Just cough. So whoever did that, that was perfect. And then starting with the eyes closed, if comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth is open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths, slowly. And eventually settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. We'll start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. Breathing in, feel them rise. Breathing out, feel them fall. Simply continue this practice, observing sensation of breath, expecting nothing but to sit and breathe. As the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it, release that thought, return attention, focus to the breath. Breathing in, follow breath in. Breathing out, follow breath out. letting go of expectations, letting go of judgments from your practice, just sitting, breathing. And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle. Know what it's like to just sit and breathe. Knowing with each breath, there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, and no one else to be. Everything beautiful, exactly as it is. Sitting, breathing. And once again, taking 3 deep breaths slowly. As you slowly open the eyes, slowly beginning to move. And most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after. Compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. Ask yourselves how you'd prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. Realize every feel now, if it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how you sit and hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around you or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddha's awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being, no different than any one of us, who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. And what that means, very simply, for all of us, regardless of where you come from or what you believe in or where you think you're going, your whole life is filled with things that happen. You react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's it. This practice is simply learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way you responded to the last 20 minutes is quite different from how you respond to every other 20-minute period of your day. So all we're working on is closing the gap to where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful. Whatever that means to you in your respective lives. But with a mind that's steady, clear, focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. This is not an easy practice. It's not necessarily fun. It's not an escape, as often people think it is. It is direct perception into the present moment. And the present moment is filled with conflict, chaos, difficulties, challenges. This is life. If your life is a crazy, hectic, stressed out mess, meditation isn't going to fix that. It helps you become aware of your life that's a crazy, hectic, stressed out mess so you can actually make changes in your life. Meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. It's just sitting, breathing, becoming aware of what you think, what you say, and what you do in each moment. This is what the Buddha called karma. Karma is not what goes around comes around. It's not getting what you deserve or they're going to get what they deserve. Karma is not what we get, it's what we give. It's what we bring into the world. We generate karma 3 ways: body, speech, mind. What we think, what we say, and what we do. So this entire practice is learning to be mindful and aware of our thoughts, our words, and our actions, and our intention behind all of them, every moment, at all times. And that's why it's so fun, because you just have to pay attention and acknowledge and be honest with why you do what you're doing. So simple. Once we stop trying to change, fix, control, manipulate everything and everyone around us, hoping they do this, hoping they do that, wishing they would do this, wishing they would do that. I'm not saying the actions of others are not important. They are. We should not ignore the actions of others. For those of us who sit in places of privilege, we should not ignore the actions of others. We should be aware. But as we engage in the world, do it from a place of loving kindness and compassion, not from a place of hatred and anger, not from a place of I'm better than they are and they're wrong and I'm right, but from a place of understanding, from a place of listening. That's the practice. It's not for everybody, because not everybody wants to hold up a mirror and actually try to be honest with what they think and what they say and what they do. It's a lot easier to ignore all that. But then the suffering just continues over and over and over again. And then here we sit on the Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. So nice to sit with you all. So with that, I'll pause. For me, really, always prefer to respond to questions. Meditation, Buddhist practice, anything you're sitting with. So those are joining virtually, welcome again. Thanks for being here. Feel free to say hello. If you have any questions, you can put them on the chat box. I'll do my best to respond. And we'll open up, use the rest of our brief time for questions.
Question about what you were talking about attachment.
Mm.
I realize a lot of my control manipulation because I'm attached to the way I want things to be and all that. So how do you go from there to a place of non-attachment, which is more like acceptance and compassion? How do you go from one to the other? Because I have no clue.
Yeah. One thing just to point out, and it really is, we all use, just looking at English with how you said it, we use words differently, but something to watch. I'm just going to start with this and then I'll come back to that. Like when you said acceptance, and I know I may often say that as well, but the way you said it kind of triggered this thought, is the word acceptance can be dangerous, is the wrong word, but for lack of better words, can be dangerous a little bit in what you're asking about. Because when we say acceptance, very often, not always, but very often that's still coming with, and this is tied to your question, a view of what we think is what? Right. So you may think someone is wrong and say, I'm going to accept them. But what that means is, in a way, you're potentially just saying, well, you're still wrong, but I'll accept you anyways. So acceptance, again, is I just caution that word. To me, other words that I think which play out more in practice, maybe embrace, observe, aware of how people are. But again, I know for me, typically if I say I accept someone as they are, what that means very often is I still don't like how they are. And that therein lies the problem, is that I am saying I don't like them, but I will accept them. The real question, which is at the root of what you're asking, is why don't we like it? And so the question around how do we go from kind of this attachment to views to non-attachment, it's not easy, but and I think you did one of these not that long ago, but for me, it always starts with trying it out on really silly, simple, stupid things. Now, if you're trying to bring this into practice with a lot of the things that are happening globally, the political climate and all that kind of stuff, good luck. A couple Saturdays is not going to get you there. Or 3 years of Saturdays is not going to get you. Go ahead, sorry.
No, just things going on in my personal life.
Yeah.
People around, that's
Just people, right. And if all those people would just do what you want, then everything would be fine, right? So the question is, how do we learn to be okay with them not doing what you want? You've probably heard me give these examples before, but I'll give them again. Socks or food? Pick one. Food. All right. Have you done this practice before? Have I asked? Yeah. Look at you. You're hard and you don't even like it. And now you want to know how to accept people, but you're not even okay accepting food that's put in front of you. That's my response. So the practice, for those who don't know it, is next time you go out to eat, I should keep picking on you, but I'll leave you alone, right? Next time you go out to eat, if you want to spend $15, $20, $1,000, whatever it is you spend to eat, right? Whatever your budget is, whatever your dietary restrictions are, if you're, vegetarian, gluten free, whatever you are, right? Or if you just want to eat steak, whatever it is, okay? Sit down or however you order. And when the person comes to take your order or you place your order, tell the person, I want to spend $20 and I'll have anything on the menu that is, vegetarian or gluten-free, and leave it at that. And then you're going to get food. And then the practice is to eat the food. And just appreciate eating the food. You don't have to accept it. You just have to embrace the fact that here is food. Can I be with it? Can I just eat? What's the first thing we do very often when we go out to eat? Unless it's like the same place you go to 1,000 times and you already know what you want. What do? Read the menu. Why? Keep going. We want to select something that we what? That we crave, that we like, that we desire. The Buddha said the root cause of all suffering, dukkha, discomfort, angst, dissatisfaction, is craving and desire. So I got all kinds of stupid, silly little practices where people, I get it, they're attached to the views of their friends or family or loved ones or, global stuff. Yet we can't even be okay with just eating food that's put in front of us without judgment, without critique, without expectation. It wasn't cooked properly. It needs to cook a little longer. It wasn't sliced properly. I want crust. I don't want crust. It's like goes back to cutting the crust off on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like here we are, grown adults, and we're still trying to cut the crust off on our peanut butter and jelly sandwich, screaming and crying if we don't get our peanut butter and jelly the way we wanted it. The next thing you know, we're 50 years old and we're still screaming and crying because a friend doesn't do what we want. This is a conditioned pattern that we have cultivated our entire lives from the moment we are born. We scream, somebody picks us up, they hold us, they feed us, they change our diaper, or whatever it is, and all of a sudden things are good. Now we're just big babies, we're still screaming, but we're very good at manipulating and justifying things in our head. The reality is you have a craving and a desire to want your friends to do everything you want. So practice cultivating non-attachment to things that are a little less complicated, like food, clothes we wear, things like that. So it's just strengthening anything. If you go run a marathon, you're probably not going to go out tomorrow and run 26 miles, right? You train for it, you build up for it, you practice it. So learning to cultivate non-attachment is a practice. That's what, Buddhist teachings are referred to as a practice. It is a practice. And practice is not always fun. It's not always easy. Training is never fun. I've never trained for anything that was, maybe you enjoy it, but it's hard. If you're training for something that is important, it's probably difficult. It's probably hard work. It probably requires great effort. Thus, the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra represents great diligence, great effort. So if you're wanting to be happy and peaceful and enjoy life, that is a training. We've just cultivated the opposite of that for so many years of our life. And again, then we come to Buddhist practice, or some therapist said, go meditate. And we're like 6 months later, how come my head's still a mess? Well, it's been a mess our whole lives. I'm talking about mine, not yours. What else? Questions? Yeah.
How can we go about making choices in life when necessary that are not just driven by desire?
How do we go about making choices in life that are not just driven by desire? That's your question? Yeah. It's so when we look at, two things first. With this idea of the root cause of suffering, right? First noble truth, as Buddha taught, life is filled with dukkha, discomfort, angst, dissatisfaction. We all struggle. Doesn't mean all of life sucks. Suffering is a terrible translation of the word dukkha because it sounds so heavy and traumatic. And yes, many of us or all of us have gone through heavy trauma, death, loss, things like that are heavy. That is suffering. But also the weather, the sandwich, not liking how your hair looks, all these little things are also dukkha. So the second is the cause of that, and often referred to as desire, craving, greed, whatever words you want to use there. But first I want to say that there are also healthy cravings and healthy desires. The desire, would you like to be happier every day? Would you like to suffer less every day? healthy desire. So I want to point out before commenting specifically is that just to remind us all that all desire is not just going to immediately fall away or ever fall away, nor should it. Without the Buddha had a desire to help people suffer less, and so he spent 45 years every single day teaching. So desire is going to be there, craving is going to be there, as is aversion, which is the things we run away from. So now the question is around really looking at what is the intention. This is what I'm hearing in your question. What is the intention behind the desire that you have? And so the Eightfold Path, the third noble truth is the ending of suffering, nirvana, right? Liberation, freedom from suffering. And the fourth is the Eightfold Path. And this is having correct views, thought, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, concentration. It's all on Google for free. You're good to go, right? Now, the question really that you're asking addresses, to me, the first of the Eightfold Path, which is having correct view. When you make a decision, who often are you thinking is most important in that decision? Yourself. Well, there you go. There's your answer. What if decisions you made were not just based on you? Say again? Yeah, if they were based on the greater good or other people or other places or other things, would that change many of the decisions you made? I appreciate the honesty and the struggle to answer that, because some people right away was like, yeah, definitely. And it's like, come on, no, really. So it starts with the awareness of, is this decision that I'm making, to use your words, what's best for me? Or is it also taking into account others, other people, places, and things, right? When we look at what we call transfer of merit, or this idea of for the benefit of all beings, most of the time we wake up and think, I'm hungry, I want food. We don't think that there are millions of people and children starving in the world. Now, I'm not suggesting that we should think about that and starve ourselves and then put guilt and shame, but do we at least begin to think, is this decision all about me? Or am I bringing other people into the picture? Because I find very often for most people, if they take other people's hearts and minds and feelings and, just presence into consideration, we tend to shift the way we decide things a little bit. Even if we recognize, okay, I'm going to bring you all into the picture and then I'm still going to be selfish and make it about me, at least we've acknowledged that other people are there. And I believe slowly that will change our decisions. The last thing I'll say is it really is, for me, when making a decision, kind of this like pause and say, who else is involved in this situation? Who else does this impact? If I choose this, what are the possible outcomes? Now, we never know. I mean, endless law of cause and effect. We never know what's going to happen. We can choose wisely and still harm others. We can choose unwisely and actually work out better for others. So we don't always know. But I think if we pause and reflect on the potential outcomes and how other people are impacted, it might just create a little bit of a space to say it's not all about me. So does that help at all? Yeah. What else? And that's that kind of that first step of the Eightfold Path, correct view. Correct view is that it's not just about us. That's for me how I look at correct view, right? If we spend most of our time just making decisions based on what's best for us, that's a very unhealthy, selfish view. But that's where we tend to live a lot. There's a question here. Could you explain the meaning behind I take refuge in the Sangha? I think the Sangha is community, which is people, but people are challenging. Yes, they are. Cindy, I wish you could see this room filled with challenging people. But here's the thing. Hang on, let me finish the sentence. Is taking refuge in the Sangha unified compassion? So a couple of things going on there. I'll start with the question specifically. Yeah, so taking refuge in the Sangha, finding comfort, safety, protection, whatever it might be. The Sangha is community, right? Now, and for me, the way I look at taking refuge in the Sangha is, people to sit with, to practice with, to hold you accountable, to challenge you, to push your buttons, to, motivate you, to inspire you, all those things. Now, here's the thing. All those people that are on the freeway that cut you off and piss you off. You know the people in grocery store lines that are annoying you. You know the people who are customer service folks that just drive you crazy and are yelling at you and you're yelling at them. Do you know who those people are? You, us. Those are the people right here. All of us. There's somebody somewhere in some other yoga class, meditation class, therapy session because of us, right? Just because we go to our Buddhist meditation thing, we are not free from being that person that has triggered other people and pissed off other people our whole lives. So just because we're taking refuge in Sangha, finding safety, comfort, protection in Sangha, and also recognizing that people are challenging, here's the thing. In 19 years of running this place, I've never seen anybody punch anyone in here. I've never seen anyone scream and yell at anyone in here. I mean, other than me, right? At me or the other way around. I've never seen anyone just completely just be nasty and rude and disrespectful going to get shoes in a shoe rack. I was amazed at, for the most part, how patient and gentle everybody is as you all line up to get your shoes. Are you that same way, like trying to get out of a parking lot? Or into a parking lot? Or in traffic? Or looking for parking? No. I mean, no offense to those of you who are, but most likely no. We walk into a sacred space, a temple space, a spiritual space, whatever you want to call it, and all of a sudden kind of that library, you know, voice and actions kick in and everyone's like, oh, namaste, you know? Like these are the people that are pissing you off out there. It's the same. So for me, that's why temples and sanghas and communities are created, is to show you that, like, wow, you can all get along, even just for this moment. Because outside here, you're the ones driving each other crazy, right? So I look at temples, and even going back to the time of the Buddha, right? At the time of the Buddha, the monks and then the nuns, that was the Sangha. And then as, you know, they kind of expanded and lay people began to practice, the Sangha really widened. But yeah, the community. I mean, I see people very often kinder and gentler to people, to strangers in here, than they are to their own loved ones. So if we treated everybody like our Sangha, 5 o'clock on the 805 freeway, if you treat them as your Sangha, you'll feel better. If we respect everybody out, you know, at the grocery stores and the coffee shops, and those working so hard to prepare everything the way you want it, if we treated them with the same level of respect that you treat absolute strangers in here, then we'd be a lot happier. So, what else? Yeah.
I feel like one of the things I noticed in this practice is I've become like painfully aware of all the things I've done that has hurt people, or things that I do to hurt people. And I'm really struggling with self-compassion in those moments. So it's really good.
Yeah, that sucks. I hate that.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful and important, and, you know, props and credit for being there. For those who didn't hear, what was said was and I loved how you said what's becoming painfully aware as you work through this process is you're recognizing, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but recognizing all the pain that you've caused and all the things you've done to harm others. And that hurts. And so your question is, how do you then have self-compassion during that process? You know, first and foremost, again, which hopefully you are, it sounds like maybe you are, please take a moment to give yourself, before you even get to compassion part, like give yourself some credit and, kind of a little pat on the back for recognizing like, wow, I'm actually owning and taking responsibility for all the things I did that harm people. Because that's first before you even try to add compassion. And that part in itself is really rare because, you know, for someone who knows, it was a lot easier to cruise along life and not pay attention to all the havoc and harm that I was causing. And once you become aware of it, you're just like, oh man, I really suck. You know, it's just like, and so then and again, this is your question, that's where the compassion, self-compassion piece comes in that says, look, you're just human. You have been responding to the world and external stimuli out of survival mode, which is what we all have been doing And when we're responding to the world out of like just survival mode, right? That's where that view of like, when we're in survival mode, there's only one person we're thinking of, and that's me. So that view of survival mode is the reason that we've been treating people, including ourselves, like crap. So first is understand why. You haven't done those things because you're a bad person. You've done those things because you were trying to survive and do what you thought was best for you. And now you're realizing like, wow, other people actually matter. It's not all about me. And so it comes back again to that view of saying, years ago, somebody said, I've heard it so many times, I'm not sure who, it doesn't matter, but somebody used to say, you're not an angry person. You're just a person who experiences anger. And even if you experience that anger every moment, you're still not an angry person. You're a person. And so you are a person who has caused harm. And having that understanding removes the identity and the label that says, I'm a bad person. So as you're seeing now what could be perceived as, I'm such a terrible person, then you realize, no, I'm just a person who's done harm. You're not alone. Anyone else in here done anything that's caused harm to anyone, right? Here we are. A bunch of harmful people in the room who also cut you off in traffic, right? And then you get to like, okay, now how do I have compassion for myself? And this gets into having forgiveness for ourselves, understanding, and this I think to me, not claiming at all to know what wisdom actually is, but I think this is kind of where some wisdom comes in that says, look, I was just doing what I thought was right. The intention wasn't to harm someone. I was doing it because I thought I needed to protect me. And that really wasn't that wise. So learning to forgive yourself for what you've done, also acknowledging that you don't want to do that anymore, trying to create change going forward. And not being afraid to pause along the way and recognize you're probably still going to do stupid shit sometimes. And you're still a really wonderful person. And we all deserve love. Everybody. Every person, every sentient being, every animal, all deserve love and compassion. Starting with ourselves. So just because you caused harm does not mean you don't deserve love and compassion towards yourself. But you have to believe that and believe that you deserve that, because it's okay. So always easier said than done, but at least intellectually beginning to process that, I think helps. What else?
I have
Go ahead, and then we'll go in the back. Yeah, go ahead.
the other side of the card of not everything is about yourself. Coming from being at service for everybody.
Yeah.
Being the table for everybody.
Yeah.
Giving to everybody, and you then find out that you're neglecting yourself because you never put yourself first. So that's the point that I'm kind of confused right now. So
yeah,
should be about myself, should not be about myself, because on both hands you end up suffering.
Screw other people, just think about you.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. There's a balance, right? And this is the middle path. So as you said, for those who didn't hear it in the back, maybe that you're on the other side where you felt like you've been caring about everybody else for so long and never thinking about yourself. Also unhealthy. So again, the teaching on the middle path, the balancing, emaciated Buddha, he was starving himself to death here. He was living on 1 grain of rice a day and only, almost to death, incredibly unhealthy. So finding balance of recognizing where can you be of service and help and supportive for others, and at the same time making sure that you take care of yourself, because that kind of old example of the oxygen mask on an airplane, right? You got to put on yourself first before you can take care of a child. So when I talk about not thinking about the self and thinking about others, I'm not at all suggesting, just to clarify, that we don't matter or that we shouldn't care about ourselves or we shouldn't take care of ourselves. We absolutely matter. We absolutely should take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. If we are not physically, mentally, emotionally stable and strong, how can we be anything for anyone? We're just like we just crumble. It's like a deck of cards. Don't be a deck of cards, you know? Take care of yourself first. And then take care of others first. Glad I clarified that for you. Yeah.
So, okay. My question is, how do you maintain boundaries with somebody who, for whatever reason, because of their suffering, acts, persistently abusive and malicious towards you, but without getting consumed by all the negative emotions that come with that, anger, fear, disappointment, even after the danger is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one also. And I'll kind of close with this thought. A couple things here around, non-attachment, really, what you're asking about. I share this all the time, but I learned when I was in college. I was working at a group home, counseling adolescents who were being abused. And my kind of mentor there, she said, Jeff, when you show up to work with these kids, these were 15-year-old girls who'd gone through tremendous trauma. And she said, when you show up to work with these kids, love them, care about them, pour all your heart into them. But the moment you walk out, leave them here. Meaning you can't carry them around with you all day long because it'll torture you, thinking about the pain and suffering that they're experiencing. And that might sound harsh, but the reality is, to the nature of your question, what I'm hearing you say is, how do you take care of yourself when someone is being abusive towards you? And I also want to point out, kind of with an asterisk for those who are maybe new or, hearing me talk for the first time, Buddhist practice is not about being a doormat. There's no Buddhist teaching that says stay in a physically, mentally, emotionally abusive, toxic relationship or dynamic. No, remove yourself from that situation, right? Removing ourselves from being abused is a very wise and compassionate thing to do, not only for yourself, but also from the person who's abusing you. If somebody's punching me and I just run real far in the other direction, not only am I keeping myself safe, I'm actually stopping them from punching me. That's a really beautiful thing to do. Now, I understand every situation is different. I don't want specifics, but family, friend, loved ones, things like that. It's not always so easy. We can't always just remove them from our lives. And there's an expression I've told myself a lot over the years that has really helped, which is their mess is their mess, and my mess is my mess. And I can't own their mess. And when they are, really how you said it, even in the way you worded the question, something around the lines of like, you recognize that their malicious behavior towards you, this is what I heard in your question, is from their suffering. That's what you said. So that the beautiful part is you see they are suffering and they are acting out, which means, does their malicious behavior towards you have anything to do with you?
For the most part, no.
100% no. We respond to people the way we want to respond, irrelevant of them. They're just responding from their own place. Sure, we influence, we impact, we trigger, but as you said, they're suffering, they're responding with malicious behavior. That's their mess. And I don't mean that in a rude, disrespectful way, like they don't matter, we don't care about them. But I don't need to take on their mess. Their treatment of me is about them, not about me. But once you start to think that they are this way towards you because of you, that's where it becomes really difficult. Because again, you think it's potentially, again, I'm just rambling here. There's a glare. I can't even see you. All I see is like a silhouette. So I have no idea what your face looks like, right? But their response to you has nothing to do with you. It's just them. And to me, that is the practice of non-attachment. That is, even going back to the earlier question, that is non-attachment. That is love. Non-attachment is not caring. It's not embrace. It's not cutting off. It's not severing. It means I'm going to embrace, be with this moment as it is. This is their pain. This is their suffering. And I'm going to feel pain and sadness for their pain and suffering, but that's theirs. I cannot fix it. I cannot heal it. I cannot take it. I have my own. And I don't find that selfish. I find that very wise. Can anybody heal your pain and suffering? No. Can anybody fix your pain and your suffering? No. But why do we think that we can do that to others or for others? Or that when they're, being a certain way, that we think we can kind of get in there and control them? We don't have enough time to talk about control today. We're about out of time. But a lot of it ties into that as well with non-attachment, is really having this idea of wanting to control how others are being, as opposed to just being with how others are being, and recognizing that it's not all about us. So I'm going to close on that. We'll join palms. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to all beings in all directions. May all beings be at peace. May all be free from suffering. All right, before you all head out, our Dharma Bum host Kevin has some announcements today.
Hey everyone, I am today's host. My name is Kevin. We opened the Dharma Bum Temple 19 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, or teachers, and they are not looking for students. They are simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction, and our food redistribution program is every Thursday at 4:30. We have classes and programs every day, and everything we offer here is always free. We have silent meditation Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. The full schedule is on our website and also posted in the entryway above the shoe rack. We have a lending library. If you see a book you like, feel free to borrow it, then bring it back whenever you are done. Please straighten your seat or cushion before you head out. If a few people could stay closed, help me latch the windows, that would be helpful. Thank you for being here. We wish you well and hope to see you all again.
Windows we can leave open, sorry.
Oh, windows we could leave open.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Host. Great job. Shabbat shalom, Jeff.
Shabbat shalom.